everyone. We all know that health is wealth. And we are constantly told by our doctors, reminding our family members to really do annual body health checks, check if your cholesterol level is high or low, good or bad, and also to ensure that you are really not reaching any health problems at any stage of your life. But when you become a seller, how often and how regular do you actually check your seller account health? How much do you know about your order performance level and the experience you're giving to your customers? How trustworthy are the products that you are currently selling on the different marketplaces? So these are questions that are really important to everybody here today. And we'll be going through some of the questions about selling on Amazon Singapore in terms of account health. There have been cases, of course, where we have seen sellers facing sudden restrictions in selling because you don't know why and how suddenly your listings or your order fulfillments have suddenly been suppressed or being enforced. And this is where we are making this session today, really informative for you today, to learn about 4 billing outcomes. First one is to understand the importance of regular account health checks. Secondly, to know fundamentals of a good account health. Thirdly, understand the risks associated with account health. And of course, if you're ever facing any issues with your account health, you must learn how to also appeal and troubleshoot and understand the root cause of your account health issues. So let's first dive into a quick overview of how the account health page looks like. This is how the account health page looks like in Seller Central. There are 4 components that you can look at in the account health page. The first is the customer service performance. The second is policy compliance. The third is the shipping performance. And lastly is the account health rating, which represents a holistic indicator of your account health. So you can find this account health page easily through the internet browser to reach the Amazon Seller Central page. You can also access it on the go via the Seller app or through API if available for you. And this account health page is located under what we call the Performance tab in Seller Central homepage. So if you haven't accessed it before and haven't seen this page before, it's high time that you do if you're an existing seller with us. To ensure that you maximize the value of your account health, we have a few tips for you. Firstly, please check regularly. So it is important to create a habit to regularly monitor your account health to make sure that whenever there's any performance changes, you're always first to be alerted. You know what's going to happen, you know what's wrong, and you can try to fix it. Secondly, update your emergency contact information. So if you have seen this blurb that happens in your Seller Central account, popping out to ask you, please update emergency information. And if you're one of those that have just clicked cross and cancelled it off, please don't do that ever again. Please update emergency contact information because it's important for us to reach out to you if something goes wrong with your account. Thirdly, don't filter @Amazon emails away. There could be a lot of emails that you're receiving from day to day. You could perhaps set up some email settings to make sure that all the Amazon emails are coming to you in a particular email folder. So that will really help you to identify if there are any particular notifications that we're sending to you. And that will help you to quickly address any seller violations or policy violation information in a very timely manner. So moving on, I want to talk a little bit more about order performance metrics. So order performance is important because if you have a bad order performance for your account, you will face a risk of deactivation for your account. The order performance metrics falls under 2 major categories. The first category is what we call the customer service performance that you see in the dashboard of your account health. So customer service performance relates to your order defect rate. So this ODR, order defect rate, basically measures your ability to provide a good customer experience. For example, if you didn't handle a customer's response quickly, if you didn't respond to a seller in a customer in a friendly way when it comes to handling their feedback, their returns, it might result in negative responses from them, negative feedbacks, as well as claims or returns. So it will be important for you to also monitor the feedback and claims from your customers in a timely manner. To ensure that your account is not deactivated, you're required to maintain ODR of less than 1%. The second category that forms up to what your order performance looks like is what we call the shipping performance. So shipping performance has 3 important metrics. So the first one is late shipment rate. So what is late shipment rate? Basically refers to orders that are shipped later than the expected ship-out date. So you are required to maintain at least a 4%, under 4% for late shipment rate, and sellers with late shipment rate exceeding 4% will be at risk of having account deactivated. So this applies to only self-ship orders, and which is why it's important for you to ensure that you are not shipping out later than what you promised the customers. The next one that affects your shipping performance is the cancellation rate. So cancellations are made by you before order is fulfilled. Those cancellations are the ones that will affect your cancellation rate. Of course, if a buyer is the one, the customer is the one that is cancelling the order and not you, it will not affect your cancellation rate. With these 3 metrics, it will impact your shipping performance. These 2 metrics will impact shipping performance. The next one is what we call the valid tracking rate. So valid tracking rate is something that helps customers to know where the items are, the valid tracking code. So if you have purchased online products before, usually you will also try and track, where your product is today, is it coming tomorrow, when will you receive it? So similarly, this valid tracking rate would help us to ensure that customers know where the items are. And if you're using self-ship as a fulfillment option, meaning you store the products yourself, you pack the products, and you ship it out to the customers yourself, you need to ensure that you are manually inputting the tracking number for each of these orders. So if you manage to not, if you fail to kind of input this manual input tracking data, what happens is it will impact your VTR rate, the valid tracking rate. And you are supposed to maintain a VTR of above 95%, or you will be facing also risk of account suspension. So to avoid any negative impact to your overall order performance, whether it's in the form of customer experience, whether it's in the form of shipping performance, here are some tips that we want to advise you. Tip number 1 is always ensure you have adequate inventory that you can immediately fulfill. If you only have 10 products in your inventory warehouse right now, don't indicate you have 100 because you are maybe lazy to change it later, you don't want to update your inventory levels all the time. But when it comes to a situation where you cannot immediately fulfill, this will affect overall order performance. Tip number 2, manage your calendar effectively. I'm sure you all know by now, in the whole calendar year, Q4 is definitely the peak shopping season. And you also know what are the peak shopping seasons across the different marketplaces. So manage your holiday surges and make sure that you can meet the shipping demands of the orders that are coming in. And also be aware of the weekends or any interruptions that are coming in. So you may not be working on the weekends, but there will always be orders 24/7 throughout. Which leads me to the next tip. We have what we call a vacation mode. So for some of your existing sellers, you may not have yet been aware of this. So you can actually access this vacation mode under your settings, account information, and there's this question, going on holidays. You don't have to prove to us you're going on holiday. Yeah, so you can simply just choose this option and click inactive if you know that you're not going to be available. So for example, you may fall sick, maybe you got, I hope none of you are having COVID. So if you are falling sick, if you're going on a holiday, or you simply just want to take a pause, feel free to do that. But make sure that you have set this to vacation mode so that you can then make sure all your orders are also fulfilled on time. Tip number 4 is to review your shipping and handling time. So FYI, you can change the shipping and handling times at account or product level. So this means, for example, if you have a bigger product like furniture products, of course you will take a longer handling time. Just taking it out from the warehouse, packing it, shipping it out, it will take you more handling time than, say, for example, you're just selling a USB wireless accessory. So adjust the handling time for items at account level or product level that suits you so that you do not overpromise the customer and affect your overall shipping performance. Our last tip for this section, of course, is also to look at how you are choosing a logistics provider. I know we've previously had the session by Sophie, and you learned about the different kinds of fulfillment methods. And for self-ship orders, you have to manually put in your tracking codes. So you can find a list of integrated logistics providers with Amazon under Carrier when you click Confirm Shipment inside Amazon Seller Central. For all sellers, you may use Fulfillment by Amazon as one of the options if you wish to, or Amazon Easy Ship if your inventory is stored in Singapore, because FBA and AES will not impact your shipping performance. This is because we are the ones that are responsible for shipping for you and also its related metrics. So if you are concerned about VTR and you want to ensure that your VTR is not impacted, FBA and AES will be a good option for you. Now let's learn about some of the other risks associated with policy compliance. Because apart from order performance, to have a good account health, you also must make sure that the products you are selling is trustworthy, you're providing a good and safe shopping experience for your customers. So the first account risk that I'll be talking about would be Amazon's restricted product policy. Restricted products are products that are not permitted to be sold on Amazon. Violations are listed under policy compliance. On Amazon, for example, the sale of illegal, unsafe, or other restricted products, including prescription products, are strictly prohibited. What is important to know about restricted products is not just about what is not included in restricted products, but also sometimes rules and laws can differ from country to country. So for example, you can sell sunscreen perhaps in Amazon Singapore, but doesn't mean you can sell the same sunscreen in Amazon Japan, for example. You can't sell it immediately because you might need to have you might need to meet some regulatory requirements, such as ensuring that there is this active ingredient inside the sunscreen, which is already approved by the health standard of Japan, and also to require perhaps some specific labeling that the government requires. So to prevent you from incurring any risk associated with restricted products compliance, some tips we have is you must know your ingredients list before you list, especially in top categories like topical, or if you intend this product to be ingested by customers, such as supplements or vitamins. Please make sure you check the ingredient list before you list in a new country. And if you're not sure, check local laws and regulations. You can even engage any legal counsels, etc., to find out more about it. So because laws really differ from country to country, also always make sure that the regulations that are changing over time, you're always updated. If you are aware of any non-compliant products, it's important and best for you to remove these listings before they violate policy. So if you're unsure, don't list it first. Check and ensure you're aware of all areas of consideration before you list the product. Tip number 3, be responsible for your own compliance. So we have a list of information for you in Amazon Seller Central, in Seller University, but you are also your own responsibility for your own compliance. So you may come across listings, for example, that exist already in Amazon's catalog. Maybe some other seller is selling this particular product, but it doesn't mean that it's entirely compliant with the rules of selling on Amazon Marketplace. So please make sure to inspect as well, whether it's compliant or not. If you're unsure, you can always raise an inquiry to us. And our last tip on restricted products is don't take chances. Always engage advice if you need. So we have a very good resource for Amazon policy for you to help to understand our restrictions for products, but also ensure that if the product is not mentioned in any of our policies and you're not sure, please raise the question and find out. So apart from restricted product compliance risks, what you need to know of next is customer product reviews. I'm sure all of you write reviews whenever you make purchase online during your shopping, but you must also know what is the right way to request a product review from buyers. So for example, it is important to make sure that you stick to Amazon's community guidelines. We have some specific policies to make sure that we protect the authenticity of customer reviews. So customer reviews we know are important because it helps customers to make an informed purchase decision. And I know it's important for every seller to start to build your customer reviews as well for all your products. But there are some examples where you may violate some of the customer product review policy. For example, posting a review on your products or competitor's product, asking a customer to change or remove their review for your product, offering incentives, for example, to third parties or customers for additional reviews. And some people are really, really creative. They insert requests for reviews in product packaging or in shipping boxes. So this will impact your overall account health if you are making if you are steering away from any of these policies that we have. And how you can prevent this from happening is always check the Amazon Seller Code of Conduct policy. Avoid making biased requests. So, for example, if you're telling someone, today, if my presentation is very good, please give me 5 stars. So you're not really giving someone else any other chance to think about any other ways to respond to my request, right? So don't make biased requests, keep it neutral. And next is also to ensure that you always train all your employees, because they are also the ones who are doing all this work for you, or whatever that they're doing will put your account at risk. Make sure they're aware and understand all the policies that we have, and make sure that also third parties, including your third-party contractors, are following Amazon's policies, and remember that any attempt to manipulate ratings, feedback, or reviews is not allowed. So moving on from product review compliance, the next one we're looking at is product authenticity and intellectual property. So it's every one of you and your suppliers' responsibility to source, sell, and fulfill only authentic products. So we don't allow products that include fakes, pirated, or copies of products or content, as well as products that have been illegally replicated, reproduced, or manufactured. This can extend to any products that can infringe on any other party's intellectual property rights. So to avoid this from happening, what you can do, tip number 1, is to review your product detail page. So what is the product detail page? If you don't already know, it's this page where when you go on Amazon.sg to shop, you will have all this information about the product that you are looking for, that you want to purchase. And on this product detail page, there could be times where you don't know, you're actually misleading buyers to assume that your product is perhaps another brand when it's actually not so. For example, you may be selling ABC silicone case, and you're saying that ABC silicone case is compatible with Jabra earphones, but instead of saying that, you're saying that ABC silicone case that you're selling is a Jabra earphone silicone case. And that's not correct, because it's not manufactured by Jabra. So in that case, you need to make sure that all your images, your description, and product title are not giving the wrong impression to buyers out there. Always exercise caution with logos and copyright as well. Don't use any trademark. Don't use any trademark or copyrighted images that you do not own. Tip number 2, you can be proactive about your product documentation as well. So when you are sourcing for products, purchasing things from your supplier, always keep a good paper trail. What is a good paper trail? So you may be requested, for example, if any of your listings are being enforced, if you have made a violation, we may require some documentation from you. So help yourself by keeping a good documentation of proof to show, for example, that you purchased from this particular supplier, you have this contact information, and what is the product description. Of course, the documentation must be valid. It must be issued in the last 365 days. And it shows that there are some quantities of the purchase there. So if you have a documentation that cannot prove, for example, it's dated, it's very long ago, or the quantity only states 1, or it doesn't have contact information of who your supplier or your buyer is, and the product description, maybe they're not stating the full description of the product that you are selling on Amazon, that can give you a little bit of disadvantage when it comes to appeal that you want to make. So keep a good paper trail of a product's sourcing, and you can also block out some of the pricing details if that's sensitive, right? But the last tip today is also always benchmark your suppliers against your high standards. Be cautious of suppliers whose offers are too good to be true. For example, most of the time when we request any documentation for you, it's really to validate a direct relationship between you and a brand, assuming you are really selling Jabra earphone. And however you receive a notification that you violated any of this policy saying that, hey, you're not selling Jabra earphone, why are you calling that out? So you must prove yourself, but to prove yourself, you must make sure that you can validate this direct relationship with the brand, that you're an authorized reseller, for example. So some of the documents that can help you are, for example, business licenses, brand authorization letters, location of the warehouse and offices that you're purchasing this from, and any other information that you can research from social media, news article, companies' websites, etc. So as long as you have documents that can assist with proving a relationship with the brand, this will be important for you to know when you're required to provide any documentation proof, to prove the product authenticity that you're selling. So at this point, you may be wondering, what can I do if my account or listings are deactivated because of violations of any of the mentioned policies? So we'll now go through the last learning topic today, which is how you can appeal. And of course, there are many, many different unique scenarios and cases. There is no one answer to all appeal scenarios. But here's a general guidance to help you to reinstate your selling privileges if one day you are facing such a scenario. Firstly, what you need to do is to create a plan of action. So in this plan of action, what you need to do is to address 3 issues. The first one is Tell us that you really understand what's the root cause that led to this issue. And what actions will you be taking to resolve this issue? And thirdly, what steps will you be taking to prevent the same issue from happening again if your selling privileges are impacted? Your appeal must be clear and concise, factual and direct. So don't focus on emotive languages. Don't tell us about your company, it was established for how many years, we are a trusted company, and things like that. So don't share those information because that isn't factual, it isn't direct, it doesn't address the question that we're asking you, which is the root cause and what you're going to do to resolve the problem. Also, provide an explanation for all the issues. So there are cases where, for example, a high order defect rate, if you recall from what I just shared earlier, it can come from negative feedback from customers. But it can also be because of undelivered orders, for example. So there can be two different problems that result in you having a high order defect rate. So in this case, you must provide an explanation for both issues and not just one. So if you are clearly already addressing all the root problems, that would be a good plan of action. And then also include supporting documents for all of the items. So if you are justifying that you are taking certain actions and you have done certain things, give us some documentations of proof that you have already done that. And in the documents that you are providing us, you can also highlight specific areas in the document to make it even clearer for us. For example, if any of your product is taken down and you're providing an invoice to show that this product is truly belonging to this brand, is authentic, I'm a reseller, etc. In this documentation proof that you're showing us, you can highlight this particular product name and circle out maybe the place that you're purchasing it from, the delivery address, as well as the contact information. So these are the areas that will be important for you to highlight to us and will support the documents more easily to be approved. So we have now come to the end of the session, and I just want to call out that, a lot of times we are busy with our business and we think about the money-making side of it. So we think about what's the next step you're going to do, what's the next product you're going to launch, what's the next strategy you're going to do, where's the next marketplace you want to expand to, and you always forget about the health of your account status. But it is really important to regularly check that to make sure that fundamentally, your operation is always healthily moving. So like how you care for your own body's health, you must make sure that you continue to keep yourself updated. Learn about all the upcoming new updates and announcements that we have in Seller Central. So in the account health page itself, there at the end of the page, you will see this portion that says that you can learn more about account health issues. So you can keep yourself updated on what's the latest trend. Sometimes it might give you more information and ideas as well on what products you can sell next. Leverage also on Amazon seller forums, where you can connect with any other selling partners, as well as even from Amazon team members. You can also leverage on Amazon Seller University videos for account hygiene content. So with that, this ends the session. And for this particular topic, we don't actually have a Q&A session because there are really a lot of unique scenarios and cases that it will be hard for us to explain over this Q&A session. So if you have any questions regarding account health, feel free to approach us later on after the next session in the area where we have seen earlier on the networking sessions. So the booths are there. You can approach any of us if you have any questions about account health. So that's all for me today. Thank you for your time, and I hope you will check your account health more regularly. Thank you.